Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to have Holo here today with us as we're going to talk about why first 7 days of the user life with you is so important and how to increase your results during the onboarding period in the first 7 days. So my name is Mike. I'm head of product here in Pushwoosh, and today with me Nikita Maidanov, head of product in Adapty. Nikita, maybe a couple
Hey
of words
guys.
about yourself.
Yeah. Hey everyone. Thank you for having me here, Mike. It's really nice to be on your webinar. I'm working in Adapty. I also worked on mobile applications for a long time already. I grow a number of apps to, I think, more than 1 million ARR or something. I've tested a lot of stuff on the paywalls, tested a lot of stuff on onboardings. I'm happy to share my experience and to help other app developers to grow their apps. That's why I joined Adapty, and uh, I'm happy to help today. so
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, I know that Adapty is the great tool to grow your mobile in-app purchases, as well as Pushwoosh is the great customer engagement platform. So today we're going to talk about how to provide a seamless user onboarding. Well, why the first session is really important. We're going to talk about some data, some reports, and so on. And then Nikita will show you some examples of what type of paywalls you can implement into your app with Adapty. And I'll show you different approaches into building your customer journey with such channels as push notifications and emails. And also, we will talk about how to work with your audience, how to segment this in order to engage, reactivate, and retain it. Well, basically, to increase the revenue of your app. So, by the way, the webinar will take up to 45 minutes, so we won't take so long. Okay, so let's talk a little why the first 7 days are the key in the user lifecycle. Let's start from the very beginning and look at this small chart. So, do you know how many apps one particular user in the United States downloads per month? So, the dramatic thing of this situation is that more than half of these users do not download any apps during the month, meaning that it's really hard to find an audience for your app, and maybe you already noticed it due to the huge cost per install for year that you have to pay to get audience. Because, well, to get some visibility, to get audience, just to start monetizing your app, you have to pay for user, and some categories have to pay more than $1 per one install. And even if you were able to attract one specific user, even if you are willing to pay a big marketing budget, and you have it, of course, there's still a big problem that even if you're able to attract this user, it doesn't mean that this particular user will stay with you. So you have 100% of your audience during the first day only. Each day after, you lose some percent of it. And for many apps, they can lose like 70, 80, and more percent of the audience. And that could be totally fine, because some users may just playing around with the apps. Some users are just trying to choose the one from a category that will work for them. And it's your job to explain them why your app is the best. And the tricky thing here is that even if you pay like $1 or $2 or $3 or $10 per install, the cost per user could be even higher, meaning that not all of the users install the app, will open it. So you need to work very carefully to retain the audience that you were able to attract into the app. So by working with the audience through different channels, such as in-app paywalls, push notifications, and emails, you can create the right context for your user that will help him to better understand why this particular user should stay with you, why your app is useful, and why this particular user should convert and buy a subscription for a month or even for a year. With paywalls, with emails, with push notifications, you can explain the value, you can help this particular user to onboard into your app, and you can prolong this user stay with you like for a longer period of time. Some reports say that when you add communications, for example, push notifications, it really affects the retention rate for the first 30 days. For example, some of the clients say that the increase was drastic, like up to 25, 30, 60%. Well, 25% an average. So adding at least one channel can help you a lot. But if you add all of them, you can just think about the result that you can get. Okay, so now let's talk about the onboarding. So you know that your app with the subscription have some kind of an aha moment. The exact point of the app experience where user gets the value for your app. So you need to bring these users to this aha moment as fast as you can and show them that this is why I should pay you. This is what the value they will get from your app. And in case of our chart that we already seen, adding additional communication channels such as paywalls, emails, and push notifications will drastically increase your results. And you need to understand that for each day, for each step of your customer journey, this is the type of message you want to send, and you just need to reiterate and keep users with you. Okay. So how this user journey could look like. By the way, for this particular screenshot, I used our own product, Pushwoosh customer journey, but you may be familiar with this approach using Miro and so on. So this is a customer journey, the exact steps your user will take with you during their first 7 days. And you can start communication with this particular user right from the start when the app is installed. You can show the Adapty onboarding paywall, and then wait whether or not the purchase was completed by this particular user. And in different scenarios, you can set the appropriate communication. For example, for those users who purchased the app, you can send some kind of welcoming message, prolonging their stay, saying, hey, it's so great to have you with us, and so on. For those who did not purchase, you can start the activation campaign based on their behavior, based on the feature they tried to use, and so on and so forth, just in order to get more users and get more revenue from the users you're able to attract. Some of our clients noticed that with adding in-app purchases, in-app paywalls, and additional communications, they were able to increase their conversion rates up to 30%, and increase their retention up to 40-60%. Well, basically, which means healthy app growth rates and healthy app revenue rates. I think that sounds great. So this is an example of customer journey that you could implement with such products as Pushwoosh and Adapty, where you have every channel combined with the user segments and user behavior. And this whole system is built just around the user itself, with the whole goal and point to make this user engaged and happy with you. So I think that you can check this content for push notifications. And now I think that Nikita can show us some examples of paywalls that you can implement into your app with different approaches that you can take, with pros and cons. Nikita?
Yeah, thanks. So I can talk about subscriptions and paywalls, I think, for a really long time. And today I will try to make it a bit more like stuff that you can use right after this webinar, some ideas that you can implement in your app pretty quickly, and then run A/B tests on these ideas, maybe in Adapty, but that's up to you, of course, and then see a growth, possible growth in your app. So I tried to categorize all my paywalls ideas that I have today with 3 metrics. I think it's the next slide.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, of course, the ideas are very different, and they're not easily, comparable to each other, and it's really hard to figure out what to try first, what to try second, etc., and how to prioritize these tests. But well, I tried to, figure out some stuff that easily applicable to all of these ideas, and these metrics. The first one is the implementation complexity. It's how hard is it to implement for your engineers, or maybe you work on your app yourself. That's just based on my own estimate and my own experience as iOS developer. So it's just a number of these emojis from 1 to 3, and 3 means it's really hard, and it also needs to be implemented on backend side other than just your application side. The second is how transparent this paywall for your users. Like, is it clear what is going on, like what you're trying to sell here and what is going on in terms of the mechanics on your paywall? So the 3 emojis of shrugging man means it's really a bit of a scammy paywall, and it's not maybe not a great UX for your customer, and you maybe will receive a bad reviews after that. So keep that in mind. Don't try to fool your users. And the last one, I think the most important, of course, for all of you watching this webinar, is the potential impact of these changes and how they can improve your monetization of your app. So basically, so you all have the same baseline as me. All paywalls, a good paywall can improve your conversion rate up to 2 or 3 times, maybe even more. So it's really important to figure out the working paywall for your app and run A/B tests for this, so you won't make it worse and really find out what works for your app. So there is no silver bullet that works for all apps, obviously, and it really different for different categories of the apps. But well, let's start. I'll give you some hints here, and the first one is the
Yeah, I just want to say that it's a really easy to understand system of marking each type of paywall. So yeah, great.
Yeah, thanks. So the first one is you probably heard about it already, and maybe read an article. It's reminders from the Blinkist. It's an app that run A/B test about reminding a user about the ending of the trial, and they said about it clearly on their paywall, so that this user will be notified 5 days after starting trial that that it will be ending. For example, you can easily implement this mechanics in Pushwoosh. Actually, just schedule a push about ending the trial after trial started. So that's one of the ideas here that you can try. So why it works? I think because when you explain clearly to your customer what is going on and you try to remove this fear of being billed unexpectedly by this app, you of course improve your conversion rate from the trial to paid subscription. I think it's really important because all of the tests and a lot of web developers focus on improving the conversion rate to the trial by placing some weird text on the buttons, by removing X button from the paywall, etc. But then they don't think about conversion from the trial to the paid subscription, but it's really important. And if you ever saw in your analytics service, like any analytics service, like Amplitude, etc., you can see that cancellation of the trials by the time looks like this. So you have a bar of the first like 30 minutes, and then a bar in the last day of the trial. So basically, of course, the last cancellation after 7 days, you can only do so much about it. It only depends on your product and if user sees value from your product. But the first cancellation, it's basically a habit of your user that they subscribe to a free trial and they immediately go to the app store to cancel it, so they won't be billed, won't be charged. So you of course can work with it, and this idea here is one of the stuff that you can implement to try to beat this habit of canceling trial right away. So you explain clearly what is going on, that they will be notified about trial ending. They won't be charged, and today they will be charged later, etc. So they won't miss a day of the charge. And well, it works better because they just continue using your app and see value from your app, etc., working through your onboarding other than going to the App Store and canceling subscription, which is not good, because then they can go to Twitter, etc., and forget about your app. It's not good for everyone. So other bonus here is that you will improve the conversion rate to the trials. Actually, it's funny that I tried this paywall in my app, and it worked really well. And also, it was a great improvement in conversion rate to the trials. I can't remember the numbers precisely, but I think around 30% improvement to the push notifications enabled by users is really good, because, well, it's just a bonus from this paywall. And well, the more users you have who enable push notifications, the more push you can send. Well, I don't have to tell it to guys from Pushwoosh, but
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, go figure. So it's a bit hard to implement conventionally, because, well, if you do all by yourself with your engineers, because you have to get this event from your billing services, etc., that user started a trial, and then schedule a push notification 5 days later, for example, or maybe 2 days later. It depends on the length of your trial. So there is some business logic here that needs to be implemented, and that's why I rated this at 3. But of course, if you use Adapty and Pushwoosh together, it's really easy to implement. You don't actually have to do anything. It will be made in user interface in this services. So yeah, then the scale will be done to 1 or maybe even 0 emojis.
Yeah.
Then in
Both
terms of the
paywalls
scanners,
and both paywalls and push notifications can be done from products as well. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And in terms of scamminess, it's 1, because it's actually opposite of being scammy, because you explain better what is going on, and you even send push notification about the trial ending, and you remind your customer that they will be charged, etc. So it's really clear and transparent for your customer what is going on. In terms of the impact, well, I tried it myself, and I saw that it's really working. And if you struggle with conversion rate from the trial to paid subscription, it can do miracles for you. So I highly encourage you to test this. We can go next to the next idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think I told a lot about this already. So
Yeah.
So I can see if the slides are changing or so. Anyways, I just encourage you to test this, and even if it's not working for you, maybe at least you will improve the conversion rate to the push notifications by showing this pop-up or some other pop-up. The second idea that I wanted to share with you is maybe a bit obvious for you, but I still see a lot of web developers struggling with this, is to give some social proof about your subscription. So basically, without any other, if your product is not that popular, or even, as you can see here, even Duolingo does it, but I think everybody knows about Duolingo. Anyways, it's still a great idea to strengthen this idea of customers that they are not alone in their problem, and this app solves a lot of other customers' problems like this. As you can see here on the example, join thousands of happy users and the photos of changing their body with this app, supposedly. So the idea here is to give this feeling that the app solves these issues for other users like you are. So it's really easy to implement. So it's only a matter of your marketing copy, your images or videos on your paywall, but it can impact your conversion rate, I think, for a good bit. In terms of scamminess, I placed 2 because, well, of course, you can write something from the top of your mind, something that doesn't correlate with the reality. And so there is no way for your customer, of course, to check that these numbers or that you claim on your paywall or this rating, etc., are real. But, well, I just hope that you really have a great app and you really have happy customers. So yeah, just think about try to place you in your customer's shoes, try to understand what the problem they're trying to solve. It's not only, of course, applicable to the paywall, but the whole onboarding series and stuff. So yeah, and figure out what the problem are they solving and show them how other customers solving this problem. And actually, it's interesting because many app developers underestimate how big of the commitment the downloading of the app is actually. So if your customers already downloaded your app, it's already a big commitment because they spend time searching for apps like this. Maybe they go through the ads, they go through the app store. So yeah, leverage this commitment, show them that they are right in the decision to download your app. Okay, moving on. Also, one other form of social proof is awards. If you have any, of course, you can place. Uh, you will be happy to place something like Apple Design Award, etc. But well, even if you don't have awards like this, you can always figure something out. You can participate in some, I don't know, some award competitions for the apps, or maybe you can even write that you have 1 million happy customers with this great rating, etc. Just don't forget about this graphic element from the Cannes Movie Festival or something. It works for some reason. So of course it's easy to implement, and also as a form of social proof, it shares the same same bit of scamminess in terms of you can always just get something from the top of your head, not real, but anyway, it works, and your customers just subconsciously they see these awards, they see that it's a quality app, and it improves your conversion rate. It's definitely something that you want to try. Also, that's a big one. Personalization on your paywall is something that can change actually the monetization of your app completely. They can, triple X your revenue if done correctly. What's the idea here? It's not only about the paywall, actually. It's more about the onboarding flow and what type of data you collect about your customer. So you have to think and think a lot about the experience your customer have, the questions that you want to ask them, and with these questions, you work on the this curiosity gap stuff that if they already answered a lot of your questions on the onboarding, they already committed to your app, and they are curious, like what you will show to them, and what kind of content they will receive in your app. So, of course, the common example is the fitness. You ask a lot of questions about the weight, goals, time, etc., and then you show that you have the fitness program exactly for these parameters, and you personalized your app for this customer. It works great, obviously. Who doesn't want your app to be personalized for them? So it only depends on whether you really can or cannot do this, because it's quite hard to implement, harder than changing images on your paywall, obviously, but it can, as I already mentioned, can change your monetization completely. So yeah, think about it, and if it's applicable to your app and you gather some information and you can personalize your app for the customer, it's a good idea to try. The next one is video on your paywall. So just imagine that these are moving, these video paywalls. So of course, it's a great idea to show your app in its fullest potential, especially if you're showing the paywall on the launch of the app, for example. Your customers, they don't even have a clue like what your app looks like and how it feels internally. So if you're showing something like a screen sharing or screencast of your app in this video paywall, it can work greatly for your conversion rate, because you give the idea what your app looks like after the paywall. So you should try putting video on your paywall. Of course, if you have photo or video app, it's a natural choice because you're changing videos, you're changing photos, you have to demonstrate these filters and stuff. So yeah, it's a bit harder maybe to implement than just changing text or putting some image on your paywall. So you have to, maybe download this video from somewhere, or maybe put this video in your app bundle. But anyway, it's still not hard to implement, and it's nothing scammy about this, I think, because it's just a video, but it can really improve your conversion rate. I really encourage everyone to try putting video on the paywall. Other stuff that you can implement is, I think it's more like a mechanic on your paywall, trial toggle, that you can toggle a trial. And what you actually do is changing between two different product IDs, the product with trial and product without a trial, for the same price in the same period. So I think the idea here and why it works for some users is that they have a full control over the situation. They feel like they have a control, and by toggling a trial, they have a clear understanding that it's free, and it's not hard to implement anyways. You just have to toggle between two product IDs, and it can be easily done in Adapty by just putting two product IDs in a paywall or writing it in your config. So yeah, you should try it. And for some apps, it really does work. I talked to a lot of app developers, and some of them said to me that trial toggle is something they will never remove from their paywall. So I think that counts for something. And the next one is a continue button. Yeah, it's similar to the previous one, and I think you've seen this already in a lot of the apps. So basically, you don't write a price and the period on your button, the subscription button, and you just write something like continue. Well, you might ask, like, will it even pass the Apple reviews? And I may answer to you that it depends. If your price is clear somewhere above your button, for example, and it's bold, for example, like here, then yeah, probably you'll pass the Apple review and it will work. But in terms of scamminess, I think it's one of the most unclear, because it says continue on the button. Continue what? It doesn't set subscribe, right? It doesn't set pay me $5 per week. So it says continue, and users tap it, and by mistake or not, they just subscribe to your application. So yeah, I think it's not really great UX, but maybe it will work in your design. So I will try it on if I were you. The next one is putting your paywall inside your product. So like here in this example, we usually think about paywalls as like a full screen screens, like model screens that take all the attention from your customer. But actually, you can make it like this tiny view inside your app, and you can gate features by these mini paywalls inside your product. Of course, that's a bit harder to implement, so you have to have some way to gate your features behind this mini paywalls, etc. But it's really clear to your user, and it works really great, I think, with the freemium model, when part of your app is free and open for everyone, and part of the pro features are closed, and you can promote your pro plan like this. But don't expect too much from this, because of course, showing the full screen paywall as soon as possible and as many times as possible, of course, will work better, because the more users see paywall, the more users subscribe, obviously. So yeah, that's one of the stuff that you don't want to be too shy about. The next one is FOMO timers. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You have a big timer counting down from 1 minute that you have this special offer. And I'm sorry, other app developers, but if you ever see this, Don't believe it. You can always go to the App Store and subscribe to any price available at any time, because there is no actual way to gate a price in the App Store. All the subscriptions are open to be subscribed by users. They are ready for sale. So of course it's 3 out of 3 by scamminess. I would even put 4 here. So it's just not real. It's just creating the feeling of that you're missing something out. So that's why it's FOMO. But well, it's really a shady mechanic. So I would not encourage you to try it. But anyways, I see that in the apps, and maybe for some of them they work really good. So who knows?
Yeah, you're just like those magician who explains every trick.
Yeah. Sorry, other developers. I think we're getting close to the end. The next one is a table with features. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just show what you have on a free plan and what you have on your pro plan. Why I even put it here? Because I want to give you an idea that it may not be your only paywall. It may be just your second or the third paywall. But if you have a really complex product with a lot of features and it's not clear for your customer what they will receive, well, it works great for the freemium apps, of course. And you see that a lot in the SaaS services like Adapty in our pricing page. Of course, you see a lot of these tables with check marks for free, pro, etc. But you can try to do it in your app. And just I want to give you an idea that it doesn't have to be your first paywall. You can make it the second, etc. For someone who's not convinced by your first paywall. Last but not least, you can try to resubscribe your already lapsed subscribers who already churned from your subscription. There is a mechanic for this called promo subscriptions by Apple. So you can even give a free trial again for the users who already have been on a free trial. And it's a bit hard to implement. Of course, not with Adapty. With Adapty, it's pretty straightforward. But if you implement it yourself, you have to write a code that checks that your user is availability of this promo offer for your user. So it's not that straightforward. But anyways, it's not great in terms of the conversion rate, in terms of the winning your users, because I think a lot of the customers who unsubscribe, they also delete the app. But well, if you even win some of the subscribers, it's better than nothing. And of course, it works better with push notifications. So you should work together with different services. I think you have idea what services we're talking about here, and run these returning campaigns for your users. So yeah, actually, just a couple of words here. You can treat it like an announcement. We've implemented integration Adapty with Pushwoosh. So now you can just go to your Adapty integrations. As you can see here, we have a lot of them, and we now working on messaging integrations. So you go to the Pushwoosh integration, you just pass your Pushwoosh credentials, and then you can have all the subscription data like trial started, trial converted or canceled, even billing issue, and even refund. All these events you'll have in your Pushwoosh account, and then you'll just figure out how to do this push notification campaigns. So yeah, it can work greatly. If I were you, I will just set up a push on billing issue, because a lot of the customers, like a lot of the billing issue percent for the customers, you can try to return actually to the subscription. And well, that's one of the stuff that easily can be implemented with this integration. So I'm really proud of it. Our engineering team worked a lot on this, and yeah, I'm just happy to present it here. Yeah, just, well, another slide about Adapty, just quickly, that we have SDKs for any platform imaginable. And so if you have your app and you think about implementing subscription, you just can make it in 2 lines of code, and I think it will take you about an hour. So just don't waste your time doing it yourself. Really don't waste your time. Just implement some service. And yeah, if you like this kind of content, just subscribe to me. I think I have the same nickname on every platform. I post about it a lot, so you can also ask me anything about subscriptions and paywalls. I'll be happy to help. So we can go on. I think. So
Yeah.
I will pass my word to Mike.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nikita. By the way, I can say that Adapty is a really great source of data about the subscription. So all of the events that the guys can pass to Pushwoosh, they're really the core of the journeys that you can build with Pushwoosh. So combining our services is a great way to enhance your results. So just a couple of things, ways how you can combine our services. So whenever and when user starting trial, doing something with the subscription, or even opening the app, you can start the communication. And for example, the push and in-app formula is working really great. So for example, in Pushwoosh, you receive information from Adapty that one particular user is declining, well, decided to churn and end his subscription. You can send in push notification with this returned, and then somehow organize the process of returning it. Or in case of starting the trial, you can send a push in the end of the trial, suggesting to, I don't know, buy a yearly subscription due to the great experience with your product. So there's a lot of way how you can organize the communication and leverage the data you receive from both of our services. Okay. So now let's talk a little about how you can think long-term and increase your LTV for each particular user. So I know that we are running out of time, so I'll try to be more quick, but let's see how it goes. So first of all, I need to say that there are three main pillars that you need to think about when you're thinking about like long-term investment in your communication strategy. The first one is, of course, segmentation and, well, basically your audience, because your audience is what the most crucial part of your app. This is the users that will be using and paying for your app. You can get the very same data about the user from Pushwoosh SDK, which gathers like information about devices and so on. You can get subscription information from Adapty, and by combining this data, you can get the full profile of your audience and the main touch points when you need to react. But it's not only about the audience itself, you need also to personalize and prepare a message for each segment that you may have. For each channel, for paywalls through Adapty, for push notification and emails through Pushwoosh. So basically, you are preparing the way how you will communicate with your client in the interface, not with the code inside the app. And this is really important. You don't need to like build something right inside the app. You can do it right from the interface. And also, after preparing the content and after building the segments, you need to think about how you will communicate, when to communicate, on which occasion, and so on and so forth. So basically, these are the three main areas where you have some options and actions that you should take. Okay, so let's talk about the segmentation. So segmentation is kind of magic. So you have one big audience, a lot of users, tens of them, thousands, that installed the app. But there's so many different segments inside, and each of them could be really different, depending on the source where you were able to attract them, depending on the gender, or maybe the amount of money they can pay. Maybe you have different segments based on the usage of the app. For example, there could be different workouts in your app, and each workout user could be different and belong to another segment. So you need to understand each segment that you have, drill down as deep as you can. And for each segment, you can plan the right communication strategy, like what type of messages should I send to users who do workout only one time a week, or maybe 3 times a week. Each type of segment will have to receive a separate message, because this message for this particular segment will be the most efficient one. And to start segmentation and start getting more information about the audience, you can start to collect mostly crucial data. For example, the country, the city, the date of the installation or registration date, the device model, and so on, like by default with Pushwoosh. These attributes will allow you to create basic segments of the new users, of the churned users, maybe based on the regions and so on and so forth. And you can plan any additional information that you would like to collect about users. For example, there's a subscription plan, information we can get from Adapty, or features adopted, or basically anything. Because the more you know about your user, the more data you store, the better. But also, it's not only about like user attributes or some characteristics. It's also about user behavior. So this is a really familiar paywall that we've already seen in Nikita's parts. So each action user take could be a specific event, not only in paywall, inside the app as well. And you can plan your reaction on each event accordingly. For example, if user closes paywall, you can start your engagement campaign. If user started 7 days trial, you can start like an engagement campaign for new users with a series of push notification email promoting the value of your app. And each of these campaigns will drastically increase the results of the retention, the engagement rates for your app, as well as the revenue. Here's a list of recommended events. It is just here. You will be able to take a look at this after the webinar. Let's move further. And important thing about the audience, the attributes, the events, that you can use this data not only to build segments, but also to personalize the message using, for example, Pushwoosh tools out of the box. So you don't have to plan the one message for the one segment. You can build a message with a personalization based on the user attributes. For example, you can use user's name to personalize the push. And also you can personalize the message based on user behavior. So in case user activates a specific feature in your app, you can send a push notifications with this feature name right inside the push notification. But by this approach, you can really tie the content you're sending to user journey inside your app. So this way, you can build this type of journeys where you combine user behavior, user segments, and different types of content, such emails and push notifications. And it's really simple because you can do it in one interface using the UI, but not the code. So this is how it could look like. So for example, you can start the sessions and welcoming push and show some in-app that will recommend users something or will promote some specific subscription plan. Maybe with onboarding and so on. So yeah, really, maybe it will be hard to implement according to Nikita's ratings, but still it could be really useful in order to understand the audience that you have. And by combining this data, by combining different content, different events, different segments, you will be able to increase your results to, sorry, I should revert back to this particular slide. You'll be able to get the results that I mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, like the drastic increase in revenue, like to up to 30 maybe %. This is a totally doable thing. You can increase retention, well, basically every metric of your app. Yes, you must know that it's also crucial that your app is valuable for the end user, but without the communication, really, you're not getting the results you can. So by adding communications, by adding paywalls, push notifications, and in-apps, it's any touch point of user journey, you can get really great results and increase the revenue you're getting from your apps. And I think that's it for me. I'm 2 minutes late from 45 time period that I mentioned in the beginning, so it's practically successful timing. So here's the final tips from us. What you need to make sure when you implement your communication strategy during the first 7 days. Like you need to make subscription offers that users can't refuse, using Adapty, of course. And use your killer features at the bait, because this is the aha moment your users would like to experience. You need to speak personally to your future paid subscribers. You need to use personalization in your messaging and every touch point that you can find. And you need to constantly engage users by showing your app value. And of course, you need to reactivate users who are likely to churn and reactivate them. Nikita mentioned a great example of how you can do it. So you can just think about it. And I believe that's all for today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. It was very insightful, I think. Now our audience has some actionable tips, both for communications and for paywalls. That's super good. We hope that you will take your chance to try these tips for your apps. If you like this webinar and all the content, all the information Nikita and Mike shared with you, please give a like below the video. And also stay tuned for our future webinars because we do have them regularly on different topics, actually, for different types of industries, different aspects of customer engagement, mobile marketing, etc. So thank you, everyone, for being with us today. Thank you, Mike, Nikita, for your time, for your experience. And well, yeah.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.